the Culinary Institute of America, located in Hyde Park, New York. The CIA offers associate and bachelor's degree. Associate's degree offers baking and pastry arts and culinary arts. These both degrees comes with a lot of food waste due to educational purposes. Today, we were searching for how the food waste at the CIA affects the student tuition. We get to interview some of the instructors at the CIA. First, we start with Chef Kallenberg from American Bounty.
All right, my name is Chef Sean Kallenberg. I'm lecturing, no, I'm not, I'm an assistant professor here at American Bounty. The food waste at the CIA and the cost to students. So it's a double-edged sword. Yes, I think students' tuition is directly affected by the food waste at the CIA on some level, but at the same time, how do we practice making food and get through all the bad, inedible portions of that before we actually get to a level of competency where we can actually make it and sell it to another person, right? So that's where it gets a little tricky. And that is, I think, as much on the student as it is on the instructor, right? They're like the famous egg day in fundamentals, right? You have to go through a lot of eggs until you start getting things at a place where they're actually at a good level. It's one of the best education days that you can possibly have at the CIA. However, at the same time, we waste a lot of eggs in the process, right? But you actually get the most benefit from that. So yes, there has to be some sort of cost benefit to your education.
Do you think we can still get a same type of education here without wasting those food in fundamentals kitchen?
No, I think there has to be some waste involved in the education, right? Just think of those tournate potatoes, right? You have to have trim coming off those potatoes. You have to make all those bad cuts before you start getting good at it, and there just has to be that time where you sit down with the potato and you just keep on going until you get good. Those skins of those potatoes, could they be turned into potato skins and sold? Theoretically, yes, but the reality of that happening, so we'd have to have those potatoes washed, rinsed, prepped with a HACCP plan, packaged, sent down to the egg, then deep fried down there by staff. So that becomes a much bigger equation, right? Is it possible? In theory, but the reality of that happening is hard. That's just one of many things that we do here, right? Also part of what we do is like the fish that comes in, we pay for the fish bones, we pay for the fish scales, we pay for the fish skin, but we don't always serve all those things in the restaurant. But we still have to pay for them, right? So even before we get that, there's always going to be some sort of waste associated with whatever we do.
All right, thank you, Chef.
You're very welcome.
We had a chance to speak with Chef Perillo about our questions.
Hi, Chef Perillo, Professor of Culinary Arts.
The question of a student body that we have is, the tuition is very high at the Culinary Institute of America. Do you think the food waste and the composting, unnecessary composting, does it affect the student cost of attendance to the institution?
Yes, of course. There's a direct correlation between tuition and food purchasing. Understand the educational model, it's hard to avoid food waste. We need to practice, we need to produce a certain amount. Can that be mitigated? Can it be reduced? Absolutely. So through curriculum design and raising consciousness of waste, we can definitely do that.
Do you really think the problem can be solved with the correct training with the staff and the students, the wasting food?
Yeah, again, I think it's not only training, but just increasing a level of awareness and creating a culture of limiting food waste.
While we were recording, Chef Perillo pulled me into the class and actually showed me a hands-on problem. This could look like a one onion, but the same problem also gets involved with expensive ingredients, and it adds up and it adds up over the years.
So, I mean, okay, this is a usable term, right? We can use it as stock or what have you, but when you're trimming the onion, this way you don't have to put into the stump, right? And then you could use all the onion, and then the stem part as well, just a little bit off the end. So it's going to help hold it together. But it adds up. It adds up over time because then it just ends up going into your stock and you have to buy more red onions and the cycle.
Another instructor at the CIA made a different point. She mentioned that students can't get the same education without reducing the food amount.
Okay, I'm Chef Egan, so my thoughts on this, I really don't know if that affects tuition, but the thing I was thinking is if we, at least in pastry or in my class, if I try to reduce the amount that we produce, that then means that I'm sort of reducing all of the experience and education that the students have. So for example, instead of each student making one cake, if every 2 students made one cake, now they're not getting the same experience, they're not getting the same education.
Food waste definitely affects the tuition at the CIA. I was also able to record some of the compost bins that was in the kitchen, and the images was shocking. There was perfectly usable food that was in the compost, such as salmon belly, lettuce, sauces, pasta. Unnecessary composting is also a food waste, on top of the plastic containers that was in the compost. All of these are going to come back as a fine to the institution. We need to say stop to unnecessary food waste.